Take a look at your screen. We got the F1 standings here ahead of the French Grand Prix. Max Verstappen. Not a total shocker there that he's at the top of the board, Pierce Dietrich, because he has twice as many wins this year as the next closest dude. And we need you to talk some best bets for us right now ahead of this week's race. So no surprise, once again, Verstappen, top of the board, plus 110. Is he worth taking at such short odds?
Verstappen has the best chance of winning. I don't think I would take that bet just based on the way things can play out with engine failures, with strategy. But if everything goes his way, or if there's not any quirky things, then yeah, he'll win this race. One of the big things, if things go well, I mean, Ferrari did win the last race with Leclerc. They had a faster car, but it's still pretty close. Now, when we look at France, the big thing with this track is going to be tire degradation. And while Ferrari has improved a lot with their engines this season, Leclerc has taken a big step forward. When we're talking about managing tire wear, Verstappen and Red Bull are still the best. They won this race last season, and that's really going to be the difference for me. Again, barring some weird situations happening, which often happen in these races. But if that doesn't happen, then Verstappen, I think, has the edge based on the tire wear at France.
Well, Hamilton has finished third in 3 straight races, so it's fitting he comes in third here on the board at plus 650 odds. How do you feel about him breaking through, hoisting the trophy, picking up the dub in France?
At some point, he's going to break through. He's going to get a dub this season, but Mercedes just isn't quite there yet. And a lot of those podium finishes have been very, I mean, look, he's finishing races. He's doing what he needs to do. And he's also benefiting from, a Red Bull failure, a Ferrari failure, other issues happening. But he does deserve credit for him not making mistakes and him not failing. But he doesn't have the speed to be the number 1 car, doesn't have the speed to be the number 2 car. And this week, he's not even participating in free practice 1. Every team has to allow a rookie to participate in a practice at some point in the season. So this week, Hamilton's going to sit out free practice 1 and allow the rookie to jump in the car. And if Hamilton's going to win a race, if they're going to go all in and put everything behind him, they're going to do it on a weekend where he gets 3 full practices. So I don't think this is going to be the weekend for Hamilton.
All right, do with some longer odds here. Carlos Sainz. Did I say that last name correctly? Sainz. Cool. Awesome. That's why I go to you, our professional. So Carlos Sainz, DNF his last race in Austria here, dude, but won the Great Britain GP before that, plus 2,200 odds. If he can get back to the top of the podium?
I don't think he can. He's got 1 win over his career. He had the engine failure last week. Ferrari's had multiple engine failures this season, so you've always got that in the back of your mind. Even if their engine works, they still have to beat the Red Bulls. And again, that tire degradation was a big issue. The Ferrari struggled last season. Yes, they're going to be faster, but they struggled with tire wear at France last season. That's not something that they have showed that they can improve this year. And also, by the way, I don't know if you're keeping track of the weather in Europe, but there's a heat wave going on. So tire wear is going to be even bigger of an issue. And I just don't think Sainz is going to be the way. I'm just going to go all in on the Red Bulls.
All right, man, you've mentioned like engine failures for Ferrari multiple times. So I'm looking at the odds for constructors then. I mean, Red Bull and, of course, Ferrari are your top 2 teams. But, I mean, dude, give me a reason to look elsewhere here. Or is it just so silly to go off of Red Bull?
It's not silly because Red Bull and Ferrari, I mean, yeah, they have won every race this season, but they've both suffered failures and had issues at every race this season. What we really need is not just 2 failures, probably 3 failures. Or, I mean, really, look, the engine failures have happened to both teams. Red Bull's been pretty good lately. But you can also get into wrecks. You can also suffer minor damage, and minor damage is all that's needed to knock someone out of the race. We saw that happen to Verstappen a couple races ago. Even if they're able to fix the minor damage, the seconds that you have to spend on pit road fixing the car, that takes you out of contention. That could open the door possibly to a Mercedes getting to the top spot. Or maybe Alpine, the French team, getting to the top. It's not completely out of the question, but again, what you're betting on are a little bit more failures than normal, and maybe that's going to happen with the tire wear and the heat issues, and maybe someone goes on an unconventional 2-stop strategy and it just works out for them. We'll see.
All right. Mercedes was plus 400 in that category. Mercedes loved that word because there's 3 E's pronounced differently. It's a great fun fact. So with that said, again, we talked about Hamilton. Favorite bet for the French Grand Prix?
So the two that I'll look at is Yuki Tsunoda to get a top 10 finish. That's plus 225. It's typically what, a 12th place driver. And if we're going to have failures, we're going to have issues, it won't be much for him to sneak in. And also the AlphaTauris are planning some major upgrades this weekend. And so maybe you make that bet now before we see them in practice and they're able to really show off. Also, I like his teammate Pierre Gasly possibly as a winner. If we want to go crazy, plus 10,000 odds. This is his home track. Maybe they give him something that's really good this week. You get some failures at the top. You get some guys barreling into turn one and takes out the number 1 and 2 cars. We've seen this happen before. It's not unheard of. Every season, 2 or 3 times a year, we see the top cars take each other out. It opens the door for one of these guys that we never expected to win a race. Maybe it's Pierre Gasly at plus 10,000 this weekend.